Yep, we have good number of people in the house. Prof, it's nice to see you. Happy to see your face.
Thank you, thank you. It's nice to meet you too.
Yeah, before I introduce you, I've heard a lot of great things about you, and it's really a great privilege uh, when I was told that you would be honoring our invitation. I was like, yeah,
No, no, it's always a pleasure to be around the space where you can relate, and I did not have a choice except to honor and also share my story with the world.
thank you very much. Yeah, so before we start, I would just like to before I introduce you, I would just like to make some little note to the participant that everyone that is here. So I want to appreciate everyone for taking time to be at this fireside chat with Professor Farai. And this is Black in Mathematics Association. This was established for all Black mathematicians around the globe and within its neighborhood to find a common ground and a body to identify with, appreciating the people we have in our midst, appreciating early career researchers, appreciating veterans who have gone ahead of us in this field, and they've paved the way for other generations of researchers to come. And this is what we do. And Black in Mathematics Association, this is just a body that identify with every Black mathematicians around the world. And we have early career researchers in our midst, we have professors in our midst, we have masters and PhD students in our midst. We have a huge research arm that over 3 years now, the research arm has moved from 2 groups to about 6 groups that we have now. 4 of them basically on biomathematicians, 2 on sociology and ecology. Then we have the pure mathematics side as well. Then we have our partnership with DataCamp. And all this is done without funds from the people. And because what drives us is that we see our people championing whatever career path they have chosen. And we are doing a whole lot to see that we have this common ground with everyone that is in our midst. And this is one of the reasons that birthed the Pi View space. There are a lot of researchers or veterans that we see afar off, and we want to know their story. We want to really celebrate and appreciate them because they've done a whole lot. So once again, I want to recognize the presence of the co-founder here, which is in person of Dr. Kayode or Shinobi. I don't know if he wants to say anything before we start. Dr. K?
Thank you, Dr. G. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone, good evening, from wherever you are in any part of the world. I want to appreciate our Prof for joining us today for this fire chat. And we're hoping that we'll be able to learn a lot from your wealth of experience. So once again, as Dr. Jimmy has said, I want to welcome all of us to this edition. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. K. And so we have Professor Farai in our midst. Before he introduces himself, I'm going to read we asked that he send us his short bio, and I'll read it to us. Okay. Forgive me, Prof, if I did not pronounce your name very well.
It's okay.
Yeah, so Faraimunashe Chirove is an associate professor of applied mathematics in the Department of Mathematics and Applied Mathematics at the University of Johannesburg. He is an NRF C2 rated scientist. So NRF here means National Research Foundation, and this is the ratings they have in South Africa. And he holds a Bachelor of Science honors in mathematics in 2003 and a Master of Science in Mathematics in 2005 from University of Zimbabwe and a PhD 2011 in mathematics, that's mathematical biology from University of Botswana. He is a researcher in the field of applied mathematics and biomathematics with a research goal from omics to population dynamics. A goal to
Yes, I'm
Yeah, a goal which seeks to explore, analyze, and understand the prognosis of infections across various scales of occurrence and how this occurrence of infections at one scale can affect the infection dynamics at other scales. He has also far published over 40 research articles, inclusive of a book chapter in accredited journals through collaborations with researchers all over the world. His research interests have expanded into mathematical ecology, database modeling, agent-based modeling, applications to zoonotic diseases, stochastic modeling, multi-scale modeling, antimicrobial resistance, and recently machine learning techniques for dynamical systems. He is also focusing on multi and interdisciplinary research as to make its modeling skills manifest into realistic impact on public health and animal health policies. He has supervised and graduated over 30 postgraduate students. He is currently serving as the vice president of the Southern African Mathematical Sciences Association Executive Committee, and an association in Southern Africa that has been in existence since 1981. He previously served the same association as a committee member and executive treasurer from 2014 to 2022. He also holds membership with other mathematical associations such as South Africa Mathematical Society, SAMS, which I know very well, and the African Society for Biomathematics, ASB, just concluded one, which served as a member of the board and a director in the latter. So, without much ado, I want us to welcome with emojis in the chat. Welcome Professor uh, Faraimunashe Chirove. I just hope I'm calling it correctly.
Yeah, you are, but probably stick to Farai for for your sanity.
Yeah, so can we get to know you now? Before I continue, 5U Space is just not about the academic achievement. We also want to know, sometimes they see mathematicians as guys who are pretty serious and they don't have a life outside, that. So this is what private space is all about. So you have the floor. Can we meet you? Can you introduce yourself to the house? Tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Adejimi, for first of all for the invitation. I think a few months ago, and he was just saying, okay, we still have more time, and before we know it, we are here.
Yeah.
It was an honor to, even though I have not yet met you, but I read about the association and I said, this is a space that I also want to record with. So yeah, we are here. So my name is Faraimunashe. For those who are Christians, it just means rejoice in the Lord. That's
Awesome.
what the meaning. Faraimunashe Chirove is my surname. With many meanings, but let's stick with the Faraimunashe for now. But I'm always known as Farai, and you can see I even put Farai there. It's a very nice shortcut, and it doesn't have any problems with people pronouncing it. So I was born in Zimbabwe over 45 years ago. And that's where I grew up, in a village where we had life as subsistence farmers. We would grow what we eat. And I went to school. Back then, the government of Zimbabwe had free education for primary school and almost secondary at some point. So I benefited from that system in the village. The education was quite strong there. Then I did also, I was walking about 4 kilometers one way from grade 1 to grade 7.
Wow.
And then secondary school was 3 kilometers away, so one way as well. So, and then I became the top student after Form 4, which is the ordinary level in that school. And then I got selected into advanced level high school, and I did some sciences there. Along the way, there's two, so advanced level is 2 years. So in my final year, I got I was involved in a terrible accident that almost ended my career, but through God's grace, I managed to even study from the hospital bed and go for the final exams. Did well to at least manage to enroll for a Bachelor of Science degree at the University of Zimbabwe, the main university, the oldest university in Zimbabwe. So I registered for a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics, geology, and biology. And in my second year, because of my performance in mathematics, I was then exempted into an honors program for mathematics. So what it meant is I was now doing the bachelor's degree for mathematics in 2 years, and then the third year, in 1 year, sorry, 2 years were squashed in 1 year. And then in the third year, which was supposed to be the fourth year under normal circumstances, I then had to do my fourth year courses and finished my honors program in 3 years instead of 4. Then from there, I was given a scholarship by the University of Zimbabwe to study for masters in mathematics. And at the same time, I was now given a part-time role as a graduate teaching assistant. That helped me with the survival, the subsistence, the fees was paid for by the university. Then after 2 years, I was among the top students, and there were some Norwegian funding called NUFU that was sponsoring the 50 PhD students and 50 master students in a period of 5 years. Then I became a recipient of that. And I moved to Botswana, at the University of Botswana. That's where I enrolled. And I was supervised for my PhD by a now retired, well-known professor, Professor Edward Lungu, who is one of the giants that we reckon with in mathematical biology, mathematics of finance. And of course, by training, he was in fluid dynamics. So he was really a giant in all those areas. But of recent, he was now focusing on mathematics of finance and mathematics of mathematical biology. So while he's studying for my PhD studies, I then got a research fellowship to go to the Ohio State University in the United States, where I went there as a research fellow under the Mathematical Biosciences Institute, the well-known MBI, for 1 year. So when I came back in 2010, I came back with a completed thesis, submitted, and I started hunting for a job. And the first interview I got was in South Africa, well, the same year in 2010, and they gave me a job, and I only got to move to South Africa in 2011. That's when my career as a lecturer started. And then a few years later, 2019, I moved to University of Johannesburg, where I am currently. So this is my academic journey. But if you want to know about my social life, I come from a family of 10, and we're born 5 boys, 5 girls, and I'm the 7th born, and also the 4th boy currently. I'm also married with 1 wife, and I have 2 beautiful children, a daughter and a son. So I think I've done justice to that. That's who I am.
But it's very amazing, Prof. The story is interesting. You've ride on the wings of um I would say you ride on the wings of the seeds of mathematics um from one funding to another funding, from one scholarship to another scholarship. You know, in Africa, we do say that out of something that is black, something white comes out of it, and yeah, and that's something you really exemplified. You know, walking 4 kilometers from house to school, and doing writing the exam on the exam bed, it's really not wording of how much your heart is indebted or how much your heart is committed to purpose and to what you really want to do. And of course, your social life, we would come to that later. That's very interesting. And okay, before I say this, on the chat box, because we're trying to create a community, I would appreciate if we just put in our name, the affiliation, and the country where we come from. I would appreciate if we can put that there. And if we have any question to ask at one point in time, please we can also put it on the chat. There will be someone who will be responding to them, and we'll also be interchanging some of those questions at different times. Okay, so Prof, can you share with us some of the pivotal moments that are very challenging to you? Of course, you've told us some, those on the sick bed and all about that, but there are some very pivotal moments that it seemed as if there was no way or there is no road or it looks very impossible. And being a mathematician, okay, how did that come to play? Or how were you able to overcome some of those challenges? Because at the same time, purpose is right before you, and you also have the challenges, which is either like a back door or a front door in achieving the purpose.
Okay, so yeah, as I think I've just given you a few challenges. The one when I was in high school, where when I was involved in a fatal accident and a road traffic accident, and I had the push to then stop writing my exams that year and delay by 1 year from relatives and those who are well informed to say, "Oh, you have been out of school for a long time." But I just kept on saying, please register. If I fail, I'll try again. So, and that was the first hurdle. Then, when my studies at university were, so they were basically funded also by government. But there's a point where things started changing, and what I used to have as funding that for subsistence would not be enough. And my parents, as peasant farmers, would not even afford. So, so what I resorted to was to buy stuff and sell. So I used to have like 3,000 Zimbabwean dollars, where I go to a shop, buy something like sweets, like some things that can be eaten when somebody's studying, small things. And
Like snacks.
over the week, I would get like double the amount I used to buy the order, and I would use that money for survival and go on another week again to use that. So I was recycling that 3,000 every week and survived. At some point, it got larger until when I finished, I had some savings to spare and live on when I was looking for a job. So that was part of the process. So when I went to Botswana for my PhD, the funding I had was supposed to support me for 4 years of study. But during the first year after the first payment, I then received a message to say the funding coffers are dry. So we are no longer going to continue with the funding. And I'm in a foreign land. So, so it was really a big scare for me. But thanks to University of Botswana, they had given me teaching assistantship as well there. So I would save something towards my fees. But also thanks to the research fellowship that I got, it was a competitive research fellowship where they needed about 4 Africans to go to MBI, and there was this New Jersey University, I can't remember. So I became one of the recipients there. and whatever the scholarship they were giving me was enough to even pay off my fees for the last year at the University of Botswana. And that's what made me manage to finish my PhD. Otherwise, I could be history right now or a statistic of a dropout. So those academically, those are some of the things that would be of challenge. Then getting a job was an excitement, but when you go to a new space in a foreign land, establishing yourself there, settling in was, of course, I went with my family, but certainly settling in academically was really a challenge. So my first 2 years was dry in terms of publications because the teaching was really taking over a lot of my time. But after that, I started picking up. And there was a year also when I was dry without publications. And you are in a system which does performance management. And you
Yeah.
have to go and explain, why are you dry? And this is your first time to be dry after you have picked up. You don't have answers. You don't have experience. But if you ask me now, then say there are years that are dry, there are some years that are also that you flourish. On average, you do well. So I couldn't explain. It was depressive moments, but after a lot of interaction with international collaborators, with my advisors, with friends that I made, I gathered my speed and gathered the courage to start doing well in my career until I have gone to the levels I am now. So these are, in summary, some of the challenges that I would say my career would not be here had solutions not come by the way to help me go through that. Depressive as they were, I now look backwards and say, maybe it could have been worse if I had not gone through that. But it's now part of the history I'm telling.
Thank you very much, Prof. To be honest, you've mentioned some things that we rarely hear about, especially probably maybe it's really just spoken in a little way in the community. A lot of people want to go to another land, do the research or probably take up a teaching appointment, and sometimes they end up not finding somebody because, of course, you're like a complement to that system. You are not from that system, and definitely you need to show your worth. And this is something we often don't hear that people go through. And now we have a lot of people who wants to really leave where they are, go to another place, get themselves established. Now, what can you tell them? Because if there has not been anyone who has gone through that, or probably they've not been able to hear it from somebody who had gone through that, I think that would be an opportunity that can answer some of the questions in their hearts of you leaving your place, going to another place. Now your productivity is down. What kind of advice can you give to upcoming ones who are aspiring in such a path?
So basically, the key issues are whether you are in your own country space or in another country, challenges are bound to come. With my experience, I found comfort in talking to people, colleagues, countrymen, fellow countrymen and women, and the collaborators. So the social part, when I went there, it was taken care of because then you identify with, as a Christian, I identified with the church. So when I went to church, there was this smiley face that I met just by the door. And up to now, we are actually family friends. Their family and my family, we are good family friends. Even our children are friends. So it was just, there's somebody who was waiting for me there. Then at workplace, I also had the internal support, administrative-wise, who were courageous to even show me around the place, and then teach me how to navigate the place. But after this, there is now your personal experience to reach out. So you start now talking to people. Not many people will talk to you because they don't know you. But if you make them know that you are here to work with them, and there's nothing awkward about working with them. So I started making friends within. And whenever I needed advice, be it academic or what, I would just go over a cup of tea. Whatever your experiences, they shared their experiences. And then when I went now to these research networks, you then now expand the experiences on how you can start a research paper to completion. And one thing that I regard key on the research aspect, my supervisor told me, even if you are desperate to publish, don't publish junk research. A time shall come when you pick up your purse and you will do well. And he was saying that because there was this mushrooming aspect of saying we can publish as many as we can. You just change one thing, which is called the salami slicing. One idea is broken into 20 ideas and the 20 papers come. So you said you would rather die with 5 quality publications and be known for them than to have 1,000 publications and just die without being known. So he was really telling me before I went to South Africa as a way to advise me in terms of career path. And of course, I made those challenges where people would say, let's just do this, let's just do this. And at some point, I had to cut off some relations because of principle. And at the end of the day, I started seeing what my supervisor was talking about, manifesting in terms of now identifying myself with a niche where I can say, if I want to target scientific reports or Royal Society journal, I have the guts, I have all the cartilage to do that. I can refocus myself in this way. I can also associate myself with this type of researchers and learn from them. So these are some of the life lessons that I got from, and by the way, I did not even cut off my relationship with my PhD advisor. He retired last month in July, and I was happy to be one of the plenary speakers there talking about my journey with him and beyond his direct contact with me, and how I have found myself in certain spaces where I can now say, I can claim that in this niche, I'm also doing something. So it was that kind of relationship. When things went wrong, I would even call him, and he was always there to give some advice, some fatherly advice, some academic advice, some friendship advice. So that was one key thing that I appreciate up to now. Even beyond his academic life, we still have connection. We are not cutting anything off. He is now family. So these are some of the things that I would advise. Beyond your home country, there is somebody who is family where you are going, whether socially or academically or professionally. There's always somebody. You just need to make the first step, and everything will become like a magnet. So I think in summary, that's what I would advise somebody out there.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, some of the questions I asked in you explaining, I have rather, in you explaining, you were able to touch them. And there's something I noticed in the things you're saying is that you didn't see yourself as a deficient person, not because of your color, not because of where you're coming from. In fact, it looks as if you don't look like where you're coming from. If we are to look at where you are, yeah, that's it. If we are to look, so if we don't know the story, we'll just feel like, man, this person has made it. But um, eh, permit me to use this word. They will say God is in the details and it's also in the story. So the details and the story, you can't separate them because they are all together. So in your story, we've been able to find the details of the things you went through. Now, what do you want to tell folks who are out there? We're all from the same African space. That's just the simple truth. We know what's going on and we know how it's being done. We know we don't have supplies. Things in a way are really not working in Africa. But in everything, you have been able to put your head above the waters and operate from that space. So, what do you want to tell folks who feel that sometimes not having funding or not being able to publish in quality journals or not being able to do some exploits is as a result of where we are coming from? What do you want to tell people who have legit reason to tell you that, see, where we are coming from is the problem why we are here today?
Yeah, I sympathize with that because as somebody who has done all my career, at least my academic career, except one in Africa, I went through those phases. But one thing that kept me going was, if others can, why can't I? So on the aspect of the academic excellence, poverty should not define, you cannot be poor academically. You cannot be poor academically. Of course, in terms of the funding, this is a huge challenge that we have. And I have seen a lot of students dropping out, some under my tutelage, and I could not even do anything. But at the end of the day, we have to. I've seen people who were in the foreign land, and their scholarships have gone dry. But because they were still legal in the system, they managed to use the night as time to do some
Most.
work to
Yeah.
supplement what they have in the morning. They would rather come and doze in your class because they just want to be there and get something from you. So if there are opportunities that we can use to supplement what we lack in terms of working physically, let's use those. If we are in our countries, probably a better place there because you can always sell some bananas there. I did that. I'm not ashamed of it, and I had something to eat on the table. So there are students that I've met, people who I met who were like that. But of course, if we look at others who definitely would not make it in terms of getting those opportunities, this is where we are saying, for those of us who are up there, who have opportunities to create a pool of funds, whether we talk to companies that are interested in the mathematical sciences areas, to at least pull in some fund, just have donations and grants, where we target those who are underprivileged. Then, from the African perspective, we can make that change as well. There's always probably a solution, but maybe a delayed one. But as humans, as a society, we can always take that leadership role and get these young ones who are energetic and enthusiastic about coming into the area, but without resources, get the resources, even if they are minimal, that would make a difference. So in summary, if you have the resources, use them wisely, and get your qualifications and make your qualifications matter. Go for quality rather than quantity. For those who can get partial funding, you can always do something to supplement what you have. For those who don't have anything completely, then this is where us, as those who are now established in the area, who can actually fundraise, we can do something to help pull one. Mandela used to have a slogan which said, "Each one, teach one." Even though he was now separated from the rest, the the whole concept was carried out. As soon as somebody comes, we assign you someone who will teach you what we are doing here. And then when you join, they wonder what's happening, but the influencer is not there. So if we use that just simple one, each one teach one, we will see that before we know it, we have an exponential increase in terms of supporting those who are underprivileged. So that's what I would encourage us to do.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like what you said is very profound. If you look at in trying to fill that kind of a gap is what we are doing in BMA, where we'll find that yes, there are resources that are lacking, but what do we have in our hands to actually get people established? So you'll find and like you said, when you teach one and keep one, it expands. So that's one of the things that happened at BMA, where we started with a two research group on biomath, and which has metamorphosized into six that we have at the moment. But sometimes it looks as if you can't reach out to the ends of the earth. You can only take it a step at a time. Now, I'm going to pick up one of the questions because those who registered to attend this, they asked a lot of questions. So I'm going to pick some of them and ask you. And please, if you have any questions to ask, while I'm picking them from the Google Doc here, you can always put them in the chat. Okay, so somebody from South Africa, perhaps maybe one of your students, I don't know, but it's obvious the person is from UJ, asked the question. He said, how do you balance your academic life and your social life?
Yes, that's an interesting one. I would confess that during my early career years at University of KwaZulu-Natal, it was difficult because I would find myself wanting to work even up to 1 a.m. In the night. And here you have a young family that needs your attention.
Absolutely.
So that sort of was a big challenge. But over time, I learned to prioritize. And of course, my efficiency also improved to an extent that now I can tell you that as soon as I reach home around 6 or 7 p.m., I throw the bags and laptops away and sit with my family. Yeah. During weekend, I then would not do anything academic unless on exceptional circumstances. So I'm not available during the weekends because of that, and other reasons, of course. On Saturdays I will be at church, so I've seen the benefits of going there, so I don't want to be, yes. I then now plan my week with my students. I have a calendar, a time where they fix that calendar time every week. And as soon as that time comes, I know I'm meeting with you. and I would have read what we use like overleaf latex. So I would have read what you have put in there. So when you come, we focus on key issues, give you feedback, and see how it goes. So with the many students I have, I can still go for a week and meet all of them and still meet my academic requirements. Currently, I'm actually a deputy HOD in the department. So I would still do my admin duties. I would still work on my research with honors students. I will still work with my masters. I will still work with my PhD. I will still work with my postdocs and my other networks that I have. Because now I've learned to prioritize. I've now learned to see what are the things that matter. And I put a plan in place so that when I now deliver, I don't overlap or even use the time for one task for another. So I've learned to have that discipline by myself. And as I started doing that, I have found myself being able to even spend time with my family and still perform at work and deliver what I'm supposed to deliver. But this came over time. At the early stages, you are just fresh from PhD. You are going to start 3 modules per year. You
Yeah.
start creating new notes and everything. You make mistakes, you correct. You are starting to supervise a student, a master student. You start learning with them as well because PhD limits you to your area of specialization.
Yeah.
But when you supervise, you need also to be flexible and enter into the other areas. So I was a learner after my PhD. So learning helped me also to be able to expand and manage my tasks. At some point, yesterday I was in a meeting where we were training some young researchers for grant writing. So we started at 8:30 and we finished at 5 p.m. And do a serious business. And when we finished, one of them was like, "I want to just go and sleep." And I'm like, "No, I'm still going to go to the office and do something else before I go home." So,
Yeah.
so, so, so when your system now gets used to your programming, and at some point, these things can just happen as if they are easy. So to the one who asked, some of the things you learn from experience and
Mhm.
adjust, but some of them, they are in your own abilities, and
Yeah.
you only need to position them in the correct space, and then you deliver.
I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Professor Abdul Atangana, because I think, in fact, he was the first person I brought to the private space. And the question was this.
Yeah.
When I asked him, because I have a feeling you might also laugh, he laughed and was like, and he kept laughing. So,
Okay.
well, you started laughing as well. So I think you would continue to laugh. So, do you have friends?
Okay. Yeah. That's a. Yeah. Yeah.
They see
All
mathematics
right.
as why I
So,
asked is because my co-founder here, which is Dr. K, we call him the Minister of Enjoyment. When it's time
yeah.
to enjoy, he enjoys all the way. So people have seen
Yeah.
mathematicians as guys who are they remain in the complex space. So I asked him in laugh, so I can see you're laughing as well. So do you have friends?
Yeah, I do. I
Ah,
do a
great.
lot of friends outside outside my academic space. I love music, so so I sometimes go and sing with some music groups.
Really?
So yeah, I do that. I have friends all over, academic and non-academic, uh,
Are you going to
personal
sing,
and family friends.
are you going to
Uh,
sing for us?
no, 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 no. Now I do also I compose small songs. here and there. If it was sharing what I compose, I would do at some point. But well, not today. It's I might not. But I have friends. I can't even at work. I have colleagues. In fact, what I do every day when I go into the corridor, if I reach the first office at 9, my office is at the far end of the corridor. By 10 o'clock, that's when I'll be sitting on my desk.
Wow.
I'm a social being. I like to know how you're doing. And through that, I also learn how to do other things through that exchange. So that's what I am. I'm a social being. I have.
Yeah. So two things now. Maybe in the course of the year or next year, two things we might actually book you and bring you back. Now this time around, it's not going to be on private space. Perhaps it's going to be on a webinar where you come to teach the people about grants, and perhaps we'll have another one where solely you have to come and teach people how to compose and sing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. On this on the composing, it's just the things just come. I don't have a formula. So if they want to hear that, I just go and bother and get a tune and start putting words that I can do. So yeah, but on the grant space we can do more on that, and that's what we are here for anyway.
Yeah. So in fact, definitely after this, we would communicate with you when that will come up as well. Okay. So someone has a question here. It looks very trivial, but I will still ask you. Now, the person says, of course, you are an expert in the field of mathematical modeling with focus to infectious disease epidemiology and biology like that. So the guy is asking, how can one see gaps in areas of mathematical epidemiology?
Okay, yeah. Maybe I should just put that into two ways of doing it. So from my experience, I read a lot. I read widely. I listen to news. I go on the news sites. I also deliberately say, I have been interested in knowing how things happen in this space of application. I want to go and check what are the new trends in there. What are they talking about? What are the open questions? So if I read an article, yeah, a nice article should always leave us with some open questions. So if it's published yesterday, I'll go and look at the open questions there and then read widely about it. And that's how I get some new ideas. That's one way. The second way is through, I have emphasized interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary aspects. So as you speak with people from other disciplines where you are making your applications, you always have some new ideas coming from there. And of course, there's the birth of collaborations and stuff. The third one, which is more casual, I've gone into a space where we can sit there casually when we're having a cup of tea, and I have this idea running in my mind, and then throw it there, and people start dissecting it and talking about what would you do if it happens like this. And as you are doing that, you are getting more ideas surrounding what you already have. And then when you go into the space of now trying to come up with a potential research problem, you then now do your literature review and see if everything that you are getting from your colleagues was actually going to give a new idea. So that's, for my experience, this is how I have been getting a lot of ideas. Sometimes when I travel out, when I'm far away from my family, then I have the night space. And I found that during the night space, when it's a quiet environment, I think much better. And daydream much better. And
Yeah.
you start seeing things that you have not seen when you are in the normal environment of survival.
Yeah.
So when I go for these research visits, it's a space for me to meditate on many of the things that I would have not done when I'm in my normal environment. So that's another way that I have seen working for me in terms of getting ideas for new research.
Okay, great. That's awesome, Prof. There's a very particular question here, but I think before then, there's a question on the thing on the chat. So it's two in one, which I want you to answer in a very short time. So it says, can I have my postgraduate studies in mathematics, particularly focused on modeling in artificial intelligence and machine learning? What are the software skills I need to learn or master that will give me an edge in my postgraduate journey?
Yes, so true to that, we did some survey in 2012 and you saw that the computational skills in Africa were a little bit on the low side. So mathematical biology as an area has it's a conglomeration of many skills that you need. You need your mathematics.
Yeah.
You need your computational skills, which you borrow probably from computer science skills, where you need to do the coding and stuff. You need some statistical skills in a way. And then you also need some experts in the biological sciences to then inform you of how your idea is going to shape up. So you will need a lot of computational skills. In fact, with machine learning and the artificial intelligence space, you definitely need those machine learning computational skills, data analysis skills, yeah, and of course the dynamical aspect in the math space, and so you have a lot of things to do. You have a lot of things to do. It's interdisciplinary, and one way probably that now that that question has been asked is to push for curriculum that integrates those. Because a lot of our curriculums are sort of or a mathematician doesn't talk to a statistician, doesn't talk to a computer scientist, doesn't
Yeah.
talk to a biologist. So it's high time we move into curriculum that integrates these skills and even come up with programs like computational sciences degree. And that way, we even don't worry about what skills should I have at postgrad because the foundation is already incorporating those.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's awesome, Prof. There's a question here. There's a good day, sir. As a young enthusiastic mathematician, I have love and passion for mathematical epidemiology. How do I go about research papers and where can I publish them as an undergraduate? I guess the person is still in the bachelor's stage.
Yes. So that's a good one. As an undergraduate, from the space I am, you don't really have that exposure where people talk about the math bio. But once you are interested like that, the best way is to look for a potential supervisor among the staff who can teach you the basics from scratch. And unfortunately, it will be at your own spare time if that is not part of your curriculum. So you then now develop your skills through mentorship. And of course, if you are connected to institutions, to associations like Black in Mathematics, probably they might have a platform where they can run some schools to just introduce some of these skills to undergraduate students. I had two undergraduate students that I taught like differential equations course at second year, but I was throwing in some applications and they were so interested. And speaking right now, they are already doing our honors program and doing some projects in the area. So that's how you can find yourself in terms of publications. the world has accredited publications.
Yeah.
Journal list, the ISI, the Scopus. So you also get some advice from those who are experienced. Then they will point you the direction. There are also predatory journals that are just publishing for the sake of getting publishing, getting somebody publishing without peer reviewing thoroughly the papers. Those we need to avoid and stick to those that can make our names be identified with quality.
Yeah. In fact, to buttress that, a couple of times I've seen it in the Western world where um, a certain department, if it's not a university, a certain department or a certain journal within the university also create something like a journal system where their undergraduate publishes.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I guess maybe it's something futuristic in Africa for now. I don't know.
Yeah. I think we need to start and borrow some of those ideas because where I am, we start giving them projects at honors level after they have finished their bachelor's, the 3-year bachelor's degree.
Mhm.
And in that 3-year bachelor's degree, there's little to no interaction with students at that level of research.
Yeah.
But when they come now for 4th year and honors degree, this is where now we start training them. And of course, there is not so much interest in publication at honors level and master's level. It's an added advantage, so to say. But if we then now push in that direction in terms of curriculum, we will start running the undergraduate schools for math bio series,
Yeah.
for example, and do it as a summer school. And in that summer school, you put projects that they work on and continue beyond or even finish.
Yeah.
And that way you can find undergraduate students publishing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I have a question here. There are two people that I want them to answer that question. You and somebody else. The reason why I'm calling on that person is because um, I'm privileged to know about his journey. So, being an applied mathematician, he has worked in biology, Department of Biology. He has worked in Department of Computer Science. He has worked in Department of Cybersecurity. He has worked in a quite number of places. Although I also have a privilege, but I couldn't go because then I was supposed to go to Hong Kong for a research work where mathematicians are needed in the Department of Biology for some DNA sequencing series. Because there's a question here, and I feel that one of the things, a little bit, maybe I think the eyes are opening now in Africa, where you see that, see, interdisciplinary research is where we are going, where machine learning, big data, and those in law are combining it together, and that is how they get grants. So I'm going to call two people, you and the other person. This person is asking this question: what does it entails to get a postdoctoral research associate position in mathematical modeling, that is infectious disease, because it seems so competitive? So you will answer that question. Then I want to call on Dr. K as well, because he has, by virtue of his applied mathematics, he has functioned in almost different places and he has able to secure other grants in that regard. So I want you to answer that question. Then after you, then Dr. K answer that question as well.
Okay, yeah. I feel comfortable relating to my situation first before I also talk about others. So, in my institution, to be a postdoctoral doctoral student in biomathematics or mathematical biology, it's a matter of identifying with the supervisor there. The university currently has a drive to recruit postdoctoral students. So once you have a supervisor,
Yeah.
the rest would be the application processes, which it has to do with the requirements of the system to get you into the space. That's what we do take. In terms of interdisciplinary research, even if you are in math bio, you are not limited to just working with your supervisor. There is you can extend your hand to work with people who have who are in biosciences or medicine and veterinary medicine, as long as you have a common interest in that. We had some call to collaborate with people in public health at some point. I have worked with people in tick biology, and I was just doing the modeling aspect into the problems that data that they got from their lab. So being a mathematical biologist, you basically have a potential to go into these other areas and work in collaborate as a collaborative group. And of course, a lot of calls for grants. They are emphasizing on interdisciplinary research. And this is the space where you then now know that I have to step up and be available to groups and networks that would require my skills. And of course, perform when you are in the group. It's not just a matter of just putting your name there and get the grant. So there's a lot to learn from each other. So interdisciplinary research is really the way to go.
Okay, yeah. Dr. K, are you there? Dr. K? Okay, while it comes now, Prof, I won't tell you the name of the person, but it's somebody you know very well. So he's asking a question here to really confirm very well. Yeah, he said, what is the greatest impediment to success in publishing? You know the person, but I
Wow.
won't mention his name.
well, should I say greatest? I failed to say greatest. Because there are phases. The first is you. You are the greatest impediment of yourself. If you don't create time to think about what you're doing and the depth of your research. Then secondly, something that is not funding also. A lot of journals are now going open access, and
Yeah.
if you can't afford, that becomes a huge factor in drawing you back. But also the process of review. In my experience, I had the paper being in the review for 3 years. That's the worst I've gone through.
Wow.
So the review process, some journals take long. The review process, sometimes it doesn't have the quality review that would make your work better. And sometimes you are rejected. Of course, there's a high rejection rate. Of course, sometimes it's for quality, but sometimes you will find that the reviewer does not really understand the concept, and then the editor is then basing his decisions based on the so-called expert reviewer. So those are there are a lot of things. So you can say greatest at any point, because everything that I've mentioned will stop you from publishing at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, I know one of the great, okay, permit me to use it. One of the greatest impediments is the APC charge. I know for South Africa
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was in South Africa for 6 years, and I know how they run. Of course, you publish, but it has to be on the DKT list.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I like them for one thing. They monitor that list every year.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
they find out that this journal is not okay, they remove.
Yeah.
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 So that actually it also puts the researchers on spot. So it in a way it takes away the burden from them
Yeah.
because you don't
Yeah.
have to pay. That's it.
Yeah.
It's on that list. You get it, the government pays and things like that. But I know in some other countries, like in some other African countries, uh, it's not the same.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Dollars
yeah,
are high, so
yeah.
that on its own, it's a
It's
serious issue.
huge. Yeah,
And journals who are not collecting HPC, they take forever.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes, if you ask me, I feel that you know the way academic works. Early career researchers, you need to be up on your game. You need to keep publishing. Now you can't publish in a journal that takes 3 years,
yeah.
because sometimes
But
if
you
it's
won't
a
know.
that's the that,
Yeah,
that's a problem. And they don't, the system does not want to understand that it's not your fault.
yeah.
Yeah, so you're in between.
You
I
can
don't,
maybe I can also add that for early career researchers, the teaching load can also do the damage.
yeah,
It can also do the damage. Your early phase, when you are given full load of teaching, there is a dent that is bound to happen.
yeah,
Uh, but if you are prepared for it, you then probably create some space for that,
yeah.
for publication. Yeah.
I've seen systems where they employ you for teaching focus, just teaching. If you do
Yeah.
research, it's probably at your own volition and desire.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in that regards, you don't complain of the teaching load. And some other
Yeah.
people are actually employed just for research purposes.
Research. Yeah.
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 But combining the two can be very demanding, especially when you have large number of students.
Yeah, in Africa, I don't think that is a common model. We
No, no.
here, in fact, you have to the performance is based on teaching and research. So you
Yes.
have to be a master of both of this whilst you are traversing your career growth.
And it's a whole lot. I don't know. It's where,
Mm.
like, for example, in Australia, there's a kind of revolt now. There's a school here where the university, the management came. They were all doing teaching and research on its own. It's a load. And now the management came and said they have to apply for 5 grants in a year and make sure they win 2.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Now they
Mm.
are revolting. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
writing one
Yeah,
grant, it's a whole lot.
yeah, no, there's a lot of issues, but at the end of the day, these are supposed these are now the framework of normal challenges
Yeah,
that we need to traverse as academics,
yeah,
whether by changing the mindset of how things are done, or by changing ourselves and just adjust to the situation and see how you can do well within the challenges that we have. And
yeah,
of course, a lot of people are managing. And if others can, why can't we? So
yeah.
yeah.
But sometimes I feel that they need to start checking the mental health of researchers,
Yeah, yeah.
because
No, that aspect is
yeah,
real. I,
the
I want
research,
to.
the teaching, and life on its own.
Yeah,
It-
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
none of them is linear. They are all non-linear because life can decide to perform its own trajectory, and you don't even understand. Okay,
yeah.
so there's a question here that says, how can early career researchers from countries with limited research funding strategically position themselves to contribute to global research in mathematical biology?
Yeah, so the first thing that comes to my mind is the collaboration with people in the spaces where you have who are resourced. So I have collaborated with people in Nigeria. I still have active collaboration. So now, if we work on a paper, yeah, because our system here has agreements with journals.
Yeah,
As long as my name is there and the institutional address is there, then you can still publish in big journal that you would otherwise not. So
Yeah.
collaboration becomes key. And also we can also use these free open softwares that are authentic, like the Pythons to do our computations. And of course, we can also initiate from the point of view of those who are in spaces that are privileged, like online workshopping, where you start skilling these people who are underprivileged to a level where they become comfortable with their skills.
Yeah.
But key to it is the collaboration aspect.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, don't be surprised after now, Prof. I'm sure you will have a lot of emails coming in for collaboration to you. So I think you're open to collaborations, right?
Yes, yes, yes. No, that's. I think that's part of our DNA. If we don't do that, then who are we?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I know Dr. Joshua Kady is coming after you.
yeah. Now we can find ways to do things together. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's someone I actually respect so much. So as I saw him here now, I just knew, wow, he's coming after you, Prof. You can't escape that. Okay. I don't know if you can check your chat. There's a very long question for you there.
All right. Is let me see. Yes, I can check. Is this by Oluwakemi
Exactly.
Obiodan? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it says, may I confirm, are you suggesting that the first step is to secure a supervisor with the institution of interest? Yes. If so, how can one determine whether the funding is available to support a postdoctoral position? So once you have that contact, they will tell you, we have an open call here that requires a postdoc on this. Sometimes these are advertised posts. But once you know that University of Johannesburg, for example, has a call for postdocs. So when you go to the potential supervisor, they will advise you that yes, the call is still open. This is the way to go about it. Secondly, how can we best address the issue of data gaps in Africa? This has remained a major challenge, especially when it comes to obtaining new real data for fitting calibration. Often we are compelled to rely on secondary data, which can reduce the quality and practical applicability of our papers. Yo, that one, it's a big issue. I reckon with that issue. Um, it is a big challenge, but we are seeing some spaces opening up. I think COVID-19 was the dawn of open data that is now shared.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about primary data, then the only way to go about it is to join a collaboration. Usually these are longitudinal studies where you have people who are experienced in data collection and you work as a group until you are as part of the team you are now allowed to use the data, primary data and clean it from your own perspective because you know how it was collected and so forth. But what we are seeing right now is we have secondary data that is open. That is open. COVID-19 is basically one of the data sets that is available everywhere. There are also some data on, is it Kaggle for
Yeah.
tumor imaging?
Yeah. Kaggle.
Yeah, so there are a lot of
Um,
open data sets where
Hugging
you just go
Face.
in there and extract and do some. There are also some data sets from USAID. Unfortunately, now they are sort of closed, but we also managed to get some data sets on tuberculosis and so forth. So I think the world has changed. All we need now is to know where to tap.
Yeah.
There is always somebody who knows where data is, and through those collaborations, we will be able to even to use that data that is it's now secondary to you, but at least you can actually read how from their Bibles how they have collected the data, and you start from there. So that's what I can at least say on the aspect of data. But yeah, a lot of other data that are there are patented. We had a situation where a student who had sought authority to go and present some paper on the data that was patented 3 months before a conference, given the express authority, and a night before presenting at a conference, an email comes and says, please, you are no longer allowed to present that work for reasons 1, 2, 3, 4. So they revoked that authority. So there is a lot of challenges in the data space. But I think now things are sort of changing. Slowly we are getting there. But if we want our own data, we need now to have these consortiums that can now collect data, but they need collaborations with experts who can help us to understand the data.
Okay, Prof. You have a very long question here. I'm going to pop it in the chat. Yep. I don't know if you can see that. The questions are directly towards you.
Okay. Oh, yes. Yeah. Adejimi. Oh, this is you now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you share some insights into your current research projects? What specific areas of mathematical biology are you most passionate about? Okay. So, yeah, I am, I have a soft spot for within host models.
Sorry, Prof.
Yes.
That question is from India.
From India. Okay. Thank you. So I have a soft spot for within host dynamics. Yeah, where currently I'm actually trying to incorporate the drug pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics properties live into the model, and still manage now to assess issues to do with natural drug resistance and issues to do with the drug-induced toxicity, and tell whether this drug will be toxic or not, and so forth. So this is the space that I'm passionate about. Recently, I was in Kenya in a Simba school teaching that, and I have a group that I'm working with. But also, I have interests in multi-scale modeling. So you deal now with both the scale of occurrence of the disease and the time scale. So the multi-scale aspects for infections is another area that I am looking at currently. Then, if you listened from my biography, I said recently I'm interested in cross-culturing methods. I have managed to cross-culture deterministic models to stochastic models. And now I am into machine learning techniques for dynamical systems. It will then combine dynamical systems with some machine learning or even deep learning techniques to improve the predictive capacity of the models. And of course, whenever I have a chance to use data, I always want to go into the database space, because if in fact the machine learning and some Bayesian techniques, they require you to have that data set anyway. So that's in summary. How do you see the role of interdisciplinary collaboration advancing the mathematical biology? I deal with complex analysis, special functions, fractional calculus. From your own experience, is it possible to have interdisciplinary research between these areas and mathematical biology? Well, from the COVID-19 pandemic space, we saw a lot of mathematical biologists being part of consortiums that were advising the various sectors, various parts of the Ministry of Health, during COVID, and that set up the importance of our interdisciplinary collaboration. In the mathematics discipline, which then has the pure and applied maths, I also have the soft spot of really exploring these dynamical systems. What are the behaviors these dynamical systems capable of producing if it's a theoretical model? So then you can see, for example, from what do you call this, semi-group theory, you can establish there are theories that are coined for dynamical systems to analyze them, to ensure that they are unique solutions and so forth and so forth. So in fractional calculus, you have these memoryless properties, and in my digging, I could find that there are always biological processes that has that space. So all the mathematics that we have, I call them a rich theory that we have that is just waiting, that is in waiting to attack an application problem. So we need to even have a very good relationship within the mathematics discipline ourselves, so that when we go there, we have even much stronger theories that will analyze the dynamical system and expose different scenarios and outcomes that the situations that we are given to model will have. So that one, without any doubt, we need that. As a vice president of SAMSA, what initiatives or programs are you most excited about that aim to promote mathematical sciences in the Southern Africa and Africa in general? So SAMSA, in its DNA, it is student-focused. It's a student-focused organization. I am a product of SAMSA myself. I went into leadership because I went there as a student and I learned from them. So we have in SAMSA we have collaborations that we make. Some have come and gone. The NUFU program that I benefited from my PhD studies was actually a brainchild that was associated with the SAMSA. We also had the NOMA program that was training master students in the University of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania for 5 years. And we also have research networks. So currently we have the MASAMU Research Network, which is a collaboration between SAMSA members and members from institutions from United States. And we meet every year for 10 days. So we sandwich the SAMSA conference 3 days before SAMSA conference, and 3 days after we will be meeting. And there we have experienced researchers. For example, in optimal control, we have the likes of Suzanne Lenhardt is part of our team that mentors. And this MASAM has collaborations in all disciplines of mathematical sciences, from algebra analysis, numerical analysis, mathematics of finance. So we sit there as collaborators from each of these continents, and part of that is actually students. And as we go in as mentors to that student, and then we publish together. So that's what some of the things that we do in terms of Africa. SAMSA reach. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I've muted the person.
Okay. In terms of reach of Africa, we have a SAMSA membership is not limited to Southern Africa. Most of these beneficiaries are all over from Africa. We have huge a membership coming from West Africa, East Africa, and so forth. So we even have people coming all the way from East Asia coming to SAMSA. UK, we had other research networks projects that will run and finish, but SAMSA is always busy trying to put the next generation of African mathematicians into space of research and publication with the right ethics. So, and even when you attend as a student, you pay, if we are charging $250, you pay something like, as a student, we pay something like $150 for registration. So we always, and we also find sometimes some grants to support, partially support some of the students who cannot afford, and so forth and so forth. And our membership fees are very, 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 very affordable. A staff member, $20 per year, 20 US dollars. A student, 10 US dollars per year. It's one of the affordable membership. Only to just say SAMSA is a home for everyone. So on that one, I think, those are the three. Yes, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
those
I
are the
think
three. Yeah, well, that question is very long. Okay, so I'm about bringing everything to a close. Yeah, but just scanning through some of the questions here. Some you've answered from, the discussion and like that. But there's a very interesting question here. I guess this is just for the laughs. This person is asking you that what are the application of mathematics to marriages?
Okay. Yeah, I think I met some. If you read the book by J.D. Murray, Introduction to Mathematical Biology, the green one, I think, not the green one, the very, very first one. So there is a mathematical modeling of marriages, unions, and the dissolutions of unions.
Yeah.
So basically, mathematics, you can apply it anywhere. So I'm imagining that a case of marriage divorce is there, and you use that model to expose the intentions of the other guy, and of course to track who was really at fault in this case. Mathematical models should be used for that, but there are models there. Go to that book by J.D. Murray. It has that a model for marriage, actually, for relationships.
I actually saw a book that has a model for love equation as well.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, with the entire stability analysis and everything like that. Yeah,
Yes.
somebody's asking here, is what fueled your passion? Why did you choose to become a mathematical biologist? What would you advise someone that wants to follow in your footstep or wants to follow such path?
So yeah, the first space is to have interest in the applications, and then the second one is to have a mentor. That is very key, to have a mentor who is also passionate about that. And of course, of course, you need more basic training, into the area. I got attracted to this area. By the way, I didn't mention that at masters I wanted to do my project in mathematics of finance, and passion for it. And then Professor Lungu came to my institution and just did a 1 week workshop where he was presenting these predator-prey models, competition models, symbiotic models, basic ecological aspects of modeling. And then when he then showed how this can then be applied in the disease space, I was hooked. I had gone 3 months into my project in mathematics of finance, and then dropped off and joined him. And I had only 9 months to complete that project. So I got hooked because I got the passion from the one who is a mentor. So you need good mentorship there and training, and the rest is history. It's you and exposing yourself to many other aspects of modeling. So that's what I could say.
So there's a question here for you. So, as a vice president of SAMSA, how do you see mathematical sciences contributing to Africa's scientific economic self-sufficiency? What advice would you give to early career researchers? Okay, that part you've mentioned, but I think the first part is like, since you're the vice president of SAMSA, what do you do?
Yeah, so I didn't mention this. As SAMSA, we are getting inroads to collaborating with SADC, Southern Africa Development Community.
Oh, okay.
So because they have a STEM department there, so whenever they do their sessions, these other things will also be in session beside the political ones that we always see. So we managed to submit a concept paper on how we can collaborate with Southern African countries, and we were invited here and there to also listen. And all we want is to make sure that we can get governments to put importance in STEM careers. Because that way, then it means even in terms of making decisions, we can influence at that level and promote the growth of STEM careers, but also the usefulness of STEM areas in decision making. So that's one way we have been doing, but also institution-wise, we should be seeing our institutions dovetailing into the decision-making spaces where we can have our guys being called in, for example, public health committee, in the National Public Health Committee, for example, if there's something like that, where you have an academic in the application space being part of that decision-making body, so that you can now create a link between decision makers and implementers and the mathematical sciences specialists. That's another way I'm thinking, but there could be many other ways.
All right, thank you, Prof. Okay, the question here is something you've answered. Yep, and I think Oluwakemi has a question to ask you.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we're at, okay, just to put this out there, we're at a point where if you want to ask the Prof question here now, or you have something to say, yep, you have the floor now.
Yeah, good afternoon, Prof.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my name is Oluwakemi. Yeah, I know sometimes 2019 I've once mailed you as a potential PhD student then, as in looking for, yeah, but then later got one in UKZN then. So I'm currently working in with Bristol Medical School as a postdoctoral. As a postdoctoral position in Bristol Medical School and Population Health Sciences. But then I discovered that, it's on a contract base, how I'm sure postdoctoral is timely and all those things. But then trying to put in for a new one, like, okay, let's try to book in for another one. It's quite competitive these days. I don't know. And yeah, it's open eyes to different things, methodology and the way we do things out there. So the question I had is, if you currently have any ongoing projects that one could collaborate with, or if there is any funding that could support a postdoctoral position in mathematical modeling. I worked on hepatitis C elimination, the implication of drug resistance on hepatitis C elimination in Pakistan is being funded by Wellcome Trust Fund. So the project is rounding up now. We are rounding it up. Is the collaboration of people in Queen's University and Pakistan, like that. So we're rounding up now. So my question is, if you have any ongoing projects, like you mentioned about the new area you are working on, which is drug resistance and within hosts, and things like that you mentioned earlier. So if you have any ongoing projects that one could collaborate, or you have any funding that will support a postdoctoral position in Johannesburg University. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your question and the brief bio you have talked about yourself. So yeah, at University of Johannesburg, currently, I just need to cross-check. There was a call for postdoctoral students. So I'm working with one and I'm getting another one. The cost implication is I have to match as a supervisor some of the funding. The greater funding comes from the investment. Sometimes they will ask, can you pay this much to also top up the funding? So that is the greatest limitation. In my space, I don't have much funding because I'm also supposed to go for some some sabbatical potentially next year, and it needs fundings. I don't have funding for myself also to go there, so I need to prioritize that. But there could be others in the system who would have that funding, and they can assist. So on the funding aspect, yes, University of Johannesburg is funding a huge number of postdoctoral students as declared by the Vice Chancellor. But the local dynamics is there is a potential to basically top up the what the invest brings on the table on the student. And if that is not there, then that will be a limitation. But if the investor says we are not, you are not going to top up, then there is no harm. Personally, I don't have any problem having another postdoc who can come and work with me. And having said that, there are, of course, a number of projects we are working on. We are working on in that space of pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics, and of course, where the current interest of machine learning techniques for dynamical systems, starting from working with PhDs and of course projects with postdoctoral students. So that's what I can say on that aspect, Oluwakemi. But you can maybe we can you can talk we can talk if you have my contact details. Probably you can get them from Dr. Adejimi. We can talk of the. You can send me an email, then we can explore this further.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof, for your time.
Hello, sir.
Samuel, you have a question? Okay, yeah, Samuel, you have the floor.
Yes. Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My name is Samuel.
Samuel, yes.
Yes, my name is Samuel. I graduated from Federal University of Ukari, Taraba State. During my study, like in mathematics, I really have this passion for mathematical modeling, like disease dynamics. So I did my project in fluid mechanics. That was what I was assigned to. But I want to understand what a student that is applying for bioinformatics, mathematical models, MSc in bioinformatics, infectious disease, pathogenomics should have as a requirement. You know, in mathematics, I have little understanding in biology. My year one and year two, I had a little understanding of biology, chemical laboratory work. And though I did chemistry, but I have a little of chemical laboratory work. So as a mathematician, trying to integrate into that system of going to the lab, trying to know how to study some maybe cancer modeling or asthmatic modeling, and try to study what genes are all about in the lab. What does a student of such nature, moving from mathematics into that era of lab work, what does he expect to, what are the requirements, what does he expect to get from before maybe you go for the interview for the course, or before you embark on the program fully? Is there any special requirements for such students? That because it's competitive these days to see mathematicians when they will be picking up or making microbiology, biochemistry, which they look like, okay, they are more they have the knowledge, the forehand knowledge of laboratory work, what's called molecular cells stuff in terms of maybe gene modeling and the rest. So what does a mathematician that has a little of lab experience should really look into while going for this course? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so it's a difficult one in the space that I am. But what I see happening, okay, why am I saying it's a bit difficult? Because for postgraduate studies, usually they will just say we want an underlying degree in applied mathematics or mathematics to go into further studies. So even those who are in the lab space, they would also use a similar requirement. But what we have seen so far, like for example, in the engineering faculty of engineering built environment, they have designed a master's degree in data science, and their student pool is coming from those who have done computer science, statistics, and mathematics and applied mathematics. So that's what is happening, at least now. In some spaces, you will. I can't remember in Cape Town if it still happen where, for example, a student who is in bioinformatics would then be working with two supervisors. One who is in the lab and the other one who is a mathematician. And then there's a collaboration there. We have had collaboration with engineering where a colleague from mathematics who does topological data analysis was now working with an engineering student in terms of analyzing the data. In Germany, I know of a student who is working who is doing a biological sciences PhD, but he is doing mathematical models there. And he's working in the lab. So they start training you how to work in the lab. So yeah, it depends on where you are going, but some universities or institutions will definitely do that collaboration where you learn, you use the expertise and learn what they are doing in the lab to then model their problems and solve their problems using mathematical techniques.
Yep. All right. I hope, Samuel, your answer, you're satisfied. Do we have any other person who has anything to say before we call it a day? Anyone? All right. No one. Prof, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for sharing with us your wealth of experience and for speaking to this large community. And we want to believe that whenever we call you, you will answer us.
I also want to appreciate the time that we had interacting here. I feel at home, and for me, I say I also could have gone out there, but I think I have a purpose here in Africa, and through these collaborations, we also import good things that we can use to improve our systems here. And for everyone who is basically is still pursuing their career prospects, don't give up. Don't give up. Talk to somebody. And sometimes it's just a word of advice that will be a springboard for your future. Sometimes it's an opportunity to do something with them. But don't give up. And to Black in Mathematics, you're doing a good job. Please continue. Don't get tired. Don't get tired. You are doing a great job, and through this, we are going to see a lot more international and national code networks that will develop from this. And And before you know it, when you do a survey at some point, you would probably see that some of the success stories will be attributed to the little efforts that you're doing so far. Thank you very much, and I was happy to be here.
Thank you very much. And just a minute, if we don't mind, can we all just put on our videos, just to see our faces? And because I'm seeing so many pictures here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, this is great. This is amazing. Yeah, lovely.
Thank you. It's nice to see all of you.
Thank you very much. I just want to take a
Yeah.
screenshot. That's why. Okay. Yes. Okay. Done. At least now, Prof is not seeing the pictures. Prof is seeing the live faces now, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, for the time,
Thank you, sir.
for the opportunity, and in the next coming weeks, we should be having. Okay, by the time, Prof, by the time you see the flyer, then you will know the person who asked the question about greatest impediment with publishing.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So I've been speaking with him. But the next Pivot 6.0 space should be coming up in September. He's a giant in Africa. I'm tempted to call his name, but I don't want to call his name. But definitely, an email will be sent because he has actually he has supervised a lot of master students, a lot of PhD students. We call him a veteran in the field, and I, Prof. I will not yield to this temptation because um, he is somewhere close, but I wouldn't mention. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and look forward to the next Pivot space and the forum also coming up. So till we see you guys to next month. Good night to wherever you are. Enjoy the rest of the day and have fun. Bye. Thank you very much, Prof.
Bye.
Bye.